Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Stop, Look, and Listen. I'm your host, LeTroy Gardner. This week, we got, somebody familiar with my stomping grounds, South Florida, Dade County, Broward County, but he's on the West, representing Cali. We got Kimeyo Daniels. How you doing, brother?
How you doing today, sir? Nice to meet you. Thanks for letting
Nice to meet you.
platform.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. That's what Stop, Looking, Listen is all about. Providing that microphone for those that, deserve it. And you've been doing your thing, hip hop for a while. Like, just tell me when did you fall in love with hip hop?
Man, I fell in love with hip hop the first time it was introduced to me. The very first song I heard was 6 in the Morning by Ice-T. But that I went to a family reunion and my cousin Jerry, he played that for us, and I fell in love with it ever since then.
Word. Well, Ice-T was definitely the godfather of West Coast hip hop. Take us back to those days, like when there wasn't a whole lot of West Coast music out, as far as mainstream, and just the artists trying to speak for what was going on the West Side, on the West Coast.
Well, when hip hop first hit, man, the West Coast was gangbanging. We wasn't really into it like that. All the rappers was considered, corny, so the girls wasn't really dealing with us. And then, it slowly started changing. And then, but now it's like a force to be reckoned with. But back in those days, rapping wasn't it. It was only a select few that was really taking rap serious, and a lot of those they became famous. You know what I'm saying? They was able to lay the foundation for the West Coast, and they still around to this day. But back in my day when it first started, it wasn't taken serious like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, did you always dream of picking up a pen and a pad and rocking stages?
Well, I was always a freestyler. So at school, I would battle rap everybody at school, and I would hold the title. And it's like, all the schools I went to, elementary, junior high, high school, I would hold the title, freestyling. And that was my thing. I didn't really get into being commercial or professional about it till after I graduated high school and had a nice little stint in the Marine Corps.
Wow. So how long did you serve in the military?
A little over a year. My father got murdered, and I was a little emotionally thrown off by that. And after that situation happened, that's what made me start writing songs, because I was really just trying to get over the fact that I lost my dad. So I was trying to find different ways to cope with it and deal with the situations that was in front of me at that time. So I would express myself through my songs.
Mm-hmm. So is Dear Dad basically a letter to your dad?
Yes, and that's I had Dear Dad on my very first album that happened to get shelved, and I was more or less still writing letters to my dad. He still resonates in my life. He's still a driving force for me. I didn't spend a lot of time with him, but the time that we did spend together was very monumental, and the information that he gave me helped guide me through life.
Mm-hmm. So from what I was researching with your music, you also work with your sons. Your sons produce a lot of your music. Like, tell me about that experience.
All right, well, my son's producing the record that I'm about to release in December called The Process. They did the majority of the production. And my kids, I did spend a lot of time with them because I was chasing this dream, So one day I used to tell myself all the time, if I stop chasing the dream and I don't accomplish nothing, then what I got to show for the time that I brought my kids up. You know what I mean? So, like, as of a couple of years ago, in 2019, I released my first record on CD, baby. And it was everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, all the DSPs, which is Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music. I started realizing that I didn't really need a record deal now that this new era of releasing music is available. So I kept releasing. So I did a total of 8 singles with like 4 videos. And then when I came to pick up my youngest son, because he stays with me every summer, I ended up, my 2 sons came over to 16. They was 16, 14 at the time. And they was like, Dad, we're not moving back. We're not leaving. We staying with you. We don't want to go back to my mom. So what I did was I got them a Mac computer and some sounds, and they just started making beats. And I was realizing they was getting pretty good at it. So I told them, look, man, give me some beats. And since you guys want to be in this music thing, I'm gonna make an album with your beats, and I'm gonna show you the process of putting out an album from start to finish, from tracking it to recording, mixing it to mastering it, to copywriting it, to registering it with the PROs, to actually distributing and then marketing it. And this is what the process became with that.
Okay. Yeah. So like, let's continue to just talk about that. I mean, like you said, you're in LA and I'm a Lakers fan. So we just witnessed Bronny and LeBron touching the court together, making history for the first time. How is it taking instructions from your sons in the booth? Is it a easy process, or are y'all able to separate business from personal?
Well, I'm dad, you know what I'm saying? But with them, it's kind of like I write the songs and then I go perform them, because remember, I'm trying to show them the process. So the engineer is the guy that's usually in the booth with me, showing me the ropes. But they'll tell me, Pops, that's whack, that's corny. Don't say that by this line. So they pretty much just be critics, you know what I mean? Because they have to learn. So I'm the one showing them what I know, and what they're doing is they're being very, very critical of what I got going on, so that it's really like it's an amazing experience, because they know what they want to hear, and they know they don't want me messing up their beats, so they kind of like tell me, they give me their input, and I respect it, because I got a lot of confidence in my son. So that's how that process worked. They just gave me the beats, and then they commented if I did a good job or a bad job after that.
Right. Like who's the musical bridge, like between yourself and your sons, as far as if you could go to a concert and see a particular artist, and all of you would be happy. You would all be, you know, all of the lyrics and have a good time. Who's that one artist?
I don't know, cause one of my sons, Juice World, man, he is everything with Juice World, and then the other son, like this artist named Yeet. So we haven't found artists that we all kind of like together. So they'll let me hear their records, I'll let them hear my records, and then we'll be kind of meeting up in the middle, because I try to introduce you to the Digging in the Crates, which is Diamond D, and no producer.
Yeah, Fat Joe.
Nor Professor, The Coop, who you might not be familiar with, a West Coast group.
Yeah.
All the West Coast, everybody West Coast. And I just show them, like, look at what they talk about in their lyrics, and then look at how the beat and the lyrics match up to one another. So I'm more or less giving them a history lesson and trying to show them a formula of how to get to a place where what you're creating can be received by other people.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm surprised that someone like Kendrick or who else, like Tyler, the creator, or somebody else from the West Coast that kind of crosses generations. I'm surprised that wouldn't have been the common bond.
Nah, because me, I mean, like, I'm older than a lot of those artists, and I I'm still competitive on one side, right? So I like Kendrick because he's very sincere with his music. Tyler, the Creator, he kind of hit and miss with me. Some things I like, some things I don't. But for the most part, I'm I'm very kind of like skeptical of a lot of the new artists because I feel like the lyrical content isn't as passionate that I was used to in my era. And I have to learn how to accept what's taking place now with this new generation of hip hop music. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, that's where my Achilles heel is at. I have to open my mind up to accepting new traditions of making music. And this is where my sons come in handy because they don't see it the same way I do. They like the beats and they like what the rapper is saying, and if he's saying it cleverly or not, it's just that's what it is. And me, I'm used to a 4-minute song when they used to a minute and a half and jump in, jump out situation. So I have to learn that whole it's a learning curve for me, you know. So that's where I'm at with it.
Right. And I mean, I think like you can take some of, I guess, that younger generation, you know, how they're successful, but you still have to stick to what you know because a lot of the music that's coming out today won't stand the test of time versus when you were growing up or even when I was growing up. A lot of that music still sounds good today. Like I can still listen to Ready to Die, or I can still listen to Ice Cube's Death Certificate or Far Side's Lab Cabin California, and it still sounds good. Whereas a lot of the music today, it's like a month and it's gone, and you're never going to hear it again. So I mean, I don't see a problem with you staying true to your values musically.
And that's what I'm at. Like the lot of I don't know if you got a chance to listen to any of my music, but you see, I try to write songs that you can relate to, that I have you thinking about life. You know what I'm saying? I'll mention some things, and hopefully the listener will be like, "Wow, I know this person." So if I'm ever in your area or we come in contact with each other, what you hear me talking about, you'll feel as if you could walk up to me and know how to carry on a conversation from listening to my music. I think I leave a pretty good characteristic of myself in my songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I enjoyed Fundamentals, and you referenced a lot of the West Coast legends as far as Quick and J.O. Felony and Easy E. Is that a true story?
Yes, it is. The majority of my songs are true, and when I do make references in the songs, I'm strictly referencing it from the third party positions as if this is what I experienced or etc. You know, because some things I don't disclose in the music. I try not to talk about it, but for the most part, in Fundamentals, the third verse in particular, that was all true.
Dr. Todd McLean provides periodontal and dental implant services in 2 convenient locations. They offer over a decade of experience treating patients, and appointments can even be scheduled in the evenings, weekends, or early mornings. Give them a call in Chapel Hill at 919-537-9774 or in Durham at 919-484-8338 or visit them online at gumsandimplants.org.
Yeah, even like especially with the Suge Knight,
Yes.
meeting up with Suge, all of that too. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, I met Suge. He was kind of shocked that I didn't know who he was. I actually thought Suge was Dr. Dre. That's what made me approach. And it was Suge. And he gave me a meeting at his office. I went and met him. And come to find out, Suge was just as shocked that I was my dad's son. So Suge knew who my dad was, but didn't know who I was when I was standing in his office. And I had no idea who Suge was while I was standing in that same office. So it was just, it's a small world. That's basically what I want to tell you. It's a small world.
Right. Also, I like Grown Man as well, featuring the Chill from Compton's Most Wanted, another legendary West Coast group with MC8. How did that collaboration come together?
Well, Chill and me met through mutual friends, and Chill was on my very first album, The Lesson, the very first album I did way back in 97, 96, 97. He was on the song called Chalk It Up. So we always been cool with each other. He's always been my big homie. And when I reached out to him to help me on this record, he was like, no doubt, he got me. And he even did the video and everything. I just had to hunt him down because he has such a busy schedule. And we ended up connecting in Atlanta. And we ended up, finishing out his verse and shooting a video all in the same time because it was produced by a mutual friend, producer of ours named Clever Kids.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you mentioned earlier you have new music coming out. The process, the album. Just tell me what should your fans expect this go round?
Well, one, my sons is doing the majority of the production. And the engineer that's engineering and mixing this entire album was the same engineer that did my very first album when I first tried to release a commercial record. The mastering engineer is the same mastering engineer that did my first album. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I recorded the entire album at the studio that I recorded my first album at. So it's a lot of sentimental value in this particular record. I'm still working with the same people that I started the industry with this record, all the way down to the same manager. I had the same manager my entire career, and my sons did the majority of the production. Like I stated earlier, that's very monumental to me. You know what I mean? Because who is normally you producing your son? My son's producing their dad, so that's something that's very awesome to me.
Uh-huh. All right, let's talk about the LA hip hop scene now, like post Kendrick Drake beef. He mentioned during that Juneteenth concert that the city of LA had been needing like a pick me up after the loss of Nip and Kobe. How do you think the city is right now after Not Like Us and Kendrick slaying Goliath?
Well, I'll just tell you like this, man. The city has always been very vocal. We don't get the attention. You know what I'm saying? We got the talent, we got the skill set. We just don't get the attention outside of, our neighboring states, which would be like Arizona, Vegas, Denver. But we don't really get the notoriety when you come down to the South, Atlanta, or even as far as Florida. So we've always had to fight that uphill battle of getting recognition, and I'm glad to see that after Kendrick and the Drake scenario panned out, that the West Coast artists started all working together. But I think y'all about to get bombarded with a lot of West Coast music. A lot of artists got records coming out during the closing of fourth quarter. And it should be a big wave of West Coast music. And I mean original old school West Coast, because this new generation of West Coast, we kind of like we've been playing with the auto tune a little bit, and we've been telling the same stories, but you about to get that gritty West Coast sound that you was used to hearing before, and with myself, I'm in that same little quiet, low key lane that I'm in, where it's like I'm not a gangster rap because I'm not a gangster, and I'm spitting my reality, but I'm doing it in my own kind of little terminology. And my album is predominantly a message to my sons while explaining the process of making records.
I love it. So, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of West Coast MCs?
Do they all have to be living?
Nah,
Or can it
dead or alive. Dead or alive.
All right. Well, definitely off the top, you know I'm gonna have to put Cube up there. Cube definitely. E40 for sure. E40 for sure. And then I can't help but mention Player Ham. So I would have to put a starting five up there. I would have to say E40, Ice Cube, Player Ham, DJ Quick, and Eazy-E. That would be my five. I think I'm across the board. I got two amazing lyricists on there. I got an awesome producer that can make it all make sense. And then I got one of the most creative artist that's been relevant this entire time from past to present, that's kind of like just holding it down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I got Easy that would just give it the panache that we need in order to facilitate an awesome starting five.
Right. All right. So, like, just tell me, how do you navigate social media? I see on your website, no words, just listen. So it seems like you live by putting a message in the music. Is that a generational thing where musicians from back in the day still want to have that mystique versus artists from today where they put all of their business out there?
Well, me, myself, man, the best way I could word it is this. I come from an era where you didn't really want to be, like, too publicly known like that. Like, you didn't want to be all in the limelight, clout chasing as they call it. And I'm not 100% familiar with how to navigate the internet, you know? So what I'm doing is giving you what you need to have and trying to utilize the best resources to get it to you. And while my mic is on, I'm not going to waste nobody's time and change the integrity of who I was from back then. So in regards to your statement about the internet, I'm just using the internet as just like everybody else, a vehicle to get the information to you so that you can make your choice. Because there's only two choices, you know what I'm saying? Either you like it or you don't. I just got to put it there for you to make one of those decisions.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you also, like you said, you went into the military in the Marine Corps, and due to your father's passing, you ended up, leaving the military. Could you talk to us about how dreams not having an expiration date? I think that would be inspiring to the audience.
Well, I mean, you know, I got confidence in myself. And since I got confidence in myself and I got a knowledge of what I'm doing, it was hard for me to just let it go. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, the saying is all you need is one song. So I just continue to keep making records. But I try to make every song worthwhile. I don't want to waste nobody's time when I turn the mic on. So I try to talk about something. And that's why it's not as much as it's a dream anymore to me, because now I have the ability to put the records out. So it's just keep practicing what I've learned, and until I make my mark, I just continue to keep doing it. And now that I got my sons, we're going to try all kind of different scenarios. But for the most part, it's no longer become a dream. It's just a matter of trying to gain more notoriety and, of course, a bag. But as far as the resources and the actual aspect of recording, man, that's it's no longer a dream. It's my reality now. So I'm just putting out records. I got an independent label. I got a great distribution situation with CD Baby. So I'm just putting it out. Just keep putting them out. You know, can't nobody stop me from me.
Word. What do you see when you look in the mirror?
Determination, you know what I'm saying? Integrity, confidence, you know, and an overall person that I could be proud of with no regrets. Just a lot of disappointments, but no real regrets.
Mm-hmm. All right. As we prepare to wind down, like, what's next besides the new music? What should we be on the lookout for? touring? You gonna be in South Florida doing any shows anytime soon?
Of course, man. I'm in Miami. It's like my second home. Of course, I'm being Hialeah. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the touring and that aspect goes, it's more or less if they ask it for me, I'll show up. But as long as I got this internet and I got this platforms that I'm aligning myself with, I continue to just keep feeding it to them to where they can get it at their fingertips, you know. And if I did go on tour, I would definitely hit, you know, the South and the East and the West and the Midwest. I would give a lot of attention to the Midwest if it comes down to just touring and traveling, because the South always gets their attention. The West definitely gets attention. And the East Coast, that's like the foundation. It's that Midwest that don't really get no shine. So I would spend a lot of my time in the Midwest.
Yeah, I could definitely see, like, you know, St. Louis and even going down to Texas and like the Clevelands and the Detroits. Yeah, I can see that, because they appreciate everyone. It's not like an East Coast bias or a West Coast bias. Like, they love it all. So I can see that. All right. You know, where can we find you on social media?
Man, just Google my name, Kimeyo, and I'm everywhere. Kimeyo.com. You could type my name in Google, it'll come up, and just go everywhere you can, everywhere. And when this record come out, December 2024, you will be able to just, you know, find a new record, because I'm pretty sure they're going to put it everywhere for me.
No doubt. All right, Kimeyo, if you want to leave us with a parting shot, feel free to do so.
All right, I want to thank you for allowing me on your platform. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking forward to getting a copy of the video, the interview, so I can, you know, share it. But anybody be prepared. The process, December 2024 is coming, produced by Chunky on the Track and George Made It, which are my two sons. And you should be real impressed with what we're giving. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Kimeyo Daniels, Kimeyo.com, Kimeyo Records. The process coming next month. For Stop, Look, and Listen, I'm your host, LeTroy Gardner. See you next week. Peace and blessings.
No doubt. Peace out. Thank you, sir.